The reason this came up for me is, when I was supporting families in the high school system, there were so many times when kids who were just dysregulated and couldn't regulate had to go home. And so there were a few kids where it wasn't for the parent, it wasn't if the call came, it was when the call came. And a lot of our parents were career oriented moms who had built a name for themselves in a corporation. They were leaders, or they are leaders in corporations and major corporations. And then they would get the call. You need to come right now. They would let down their team. They would have to explain something to their supervisor. Very likely they were not in a building where this was common, where they could talk to each other and understand each other. Listen, I got to run. My son's had this, my daughter's had this. I got to go. Can somebody back me up? There's a lot of shame and secrecy that can come with this. And part of that issue was if the kid was dysregulated, I had a big problem with administration, first of all, phoning the parents at work to come and get their kid. And number two, their kid was sitting in the principal's office because they were dysregulated. So let's ask for more problems. Let's ask a dysregulated kid to sit in an office where that means punitive discipline for something they really had no choice over. They couldn't regulate themselves. Something happened. They got triggered. And it could even be some of our kids on the spectrum, they have a big fairness tunnel vision. And if they think that they're being disciplined for something that wasn't fair, this triggers more dysregulation. So one thing I did request of my admin all the time was that the student stayed in my office while they tried to regulate or waited for parents, and I was the one to call home. I felt like if that parent heard the administrator's voice, no matter how caring and compassionate they can be, it's a different message. It's a different message when you see a call come in from a principal's phone number, where this is something parents you can ask for. I know we're at the end of the year now, but for September, is there a way that you can ask the school, listen, I know the call is coming. Can the CERT, can the special education resource teacher, can someone in the resource department call me and allow my kid to sit in a safe space where they don't feel like they're being punitively disciplined for something they had no option in? So what does that say about these parents? We have these major organizations who are amazingly hiring neurodivergent employees. It's fantastic. They know they bring their skills to the table. I love it. I love when these companies are doing this without just checking a box, but they actually see the value in everyone having a different ability to bring to the table. It's amazing. But what we might be missing in these companies, especially HR or the employee resource groups, is that if a parent is neurodivergent, the statistics shoot right up that they have a kid who's neurodivergent. Or even if your parent is not neurodivergent, we know now statistics are like 33%. We are having a neurodivergent kid. So what does that mean? That means the call might be coming. That means that employees are not just navigating work, right? They're navigating school advocacy. They're navigating the emotional dysregulation. They're navigating IP meetings. They're navigating reports. They're navigating anxiety, dysregulation, reports coming in from other teachers. Like there's so much that they're walking to work with that we don't understand, that we can't navigate. They're silently carrying the weight of all of this and trying to show up fully at work. So what I would like to introduce to you is not only now am I a parent advocate and an educational strategist, but I have added another label, another service to my repertoire. And that is, I am now a workplace family support consultant. So, what I would do is go into companies who are already supporting our neurodivergent population, who are already on the inclusion and diversity and the neurodivergent train, where they understand that the skills that people are bringing to the table are incredible. They're already on that train. But there's that little gap of what is this parent now navigating, as well as navigating their own careers. And so having conversations, building a community, building awareness with our supervisors, with having a team who we can have a backup plan. Mary gets a call, Mary's got to go. Now Mary's not worried about, I have to do this, and I have to tell this person, and I have to bail on my team, and I can't make the meeting. Now we have a community of people who can support Mary. How incredible would that be? Mary can just leave. And Mary understands that there's 15 other people in her department who understand where she's coming from, who can empathize, because one day they're going to need Mary. It's conversations with supervisors who might not be aware of what people are actually carrying. And when people love their career, I loved teaching. I loved it. If I had this situation where I had to keep leaving, I don't know what kind of supports I would have had in that situation. So I would love to introduce you to this workplace support family consultant. If you are working in a company, if you know somebody, a parent of a teen who is working for an organization and loves their career, but knows the call is coming and feels very isolated and very alone in their aspirations to be a high producing employee, retention, productive, creative employee in a situation, but they still have a kid who is dysregulated on the daily, who needs to go home, who needs some support. Maybe they're even a single parent. If you know anybody in that situation, if you are working for a company that has an HR department, like, oh, maybe we need to fill this gap. I go in, we do fireside chats, and we create a community. We create awareness, and we give people the support that they need, because we're getting so good at supporting our employees. We're so good. We're this close. But there is a small gap there where we need to support the parent behind the employee. And with statistics the way they are, we know there are way more employees carrying this weight silently on their own and still trying to be productive and creative individuals and have autonomy in their department and have some pride and loving their career, and they still have this weight. So if you know anybody in that situation, if you work in that kind of situation, if you are the HR person, reach out to me. We can have a conversation. I would love to be able to support you there. I would love to be able to support the parents who are listening to this going, oh my God, that's me, or that's my sister, or that's my friend. Share these episodes. You just never know who we're helping. And if you're changing a life just by sharing an episode, well, how incredible is that? Thank you for listening to Parenting Teens Advice Redefined, the WTF series. Welcome to Friday, or what, that's totally up to you. Everything will be in the show notes that you need in order to get a hold of me. There is my website. There are resources that you can use for anything transitioning, IPs. If your kid's got a diagnosis and now you have no idea what the heck to do with it, I'm there. I've got you. I love this. I love supporting people. I am on all sides of the fence in the education system as a parent, as an advocate. So everybody gets a seat at the table with me, and that's how we build a support team for our kids. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.